Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I am Nadeem from JK College. Today we are going to discuss the class 10 chapter number 11 organic chemistry. Page 49, topic is condensed structure formulas. Actually they have given the title is condensed structure formula, but in this topic we will discuss what are the structure formula, what is a condensed structure formula and molecular formula. So let me start with with the structure formula. Actually, what is the formula? Formula is actually it is the representation of the composition of a compound in terms of samples of atoms and the number of atoms, which may be same or different. Formula is divided into few types. For example, structure formula, similarly condensed structure formula, and molecular formula. There is another formula which is called dot and cross formula, but that is not given in your book, so I am not going into the detail of that formula, dot and cross formula. So let us start with the formula. This is actually formula shows the composition of a compound in terms of types of atoms and number of atoms. First of all, we will discuss structure formula. Structure formula is the formula which shows the arrangement of atoms in a molecule of an organic compound or a substance. For example, let me draw the structure of butane. This is butane. It has 4 carbon atoms and 8 hydrogen atoms. They are connected in this pattern. This is called structure formula. In structure formula, all bonds which may be carbon-carbon or carbon-hydrogen, they are shown. And the full arrangement or pattern of atoms is shown, which atom is connected with the which atom, and so this is such formula is called structure formula. It is also called expanded structure formula. Now look at this one. What is this? 1 carbon and how many hydrogen? 3. Let I write CH3 for this. Now what is this? CH2. What is this? CH2. Again CH2, and finally CH3. Now this formula is called condensed structure formula. Condensed structure formula is actually it represents a compound in terms of some abbreviations for group of atoms. For example, this is a group of atom. We use abbreviation what? CH3. For this group of atom, I use the term CH2, and for this one I use the term another CH2, and finally for this one again CH3. It can also be like this, CH3. How many CH2 are these? 2. So write bracket CH2. How many these are? 2 whole twice, and again CH3. Such formulas which do not shows all the bonds, but they just shows the structure in terms of some abbreviations. For example, abbreviation CH3 is for this one, and CH2 for this, and CH3 is called methyl, CH2 is called methylene. So these are the condensed structure formula. Now I have discussed, we have taken the example of butane. This is butane. It has 4 carbon atoms and 8 hydrogen atoms. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 carbon hydrogens. 3, 2, 5, 2, 7, 1, 3, 8. C4 H8. This formula is called what? Molecular formula. It shows, the molecular formula shows us the exact number of atoms in a molecule, but it never shows that how these atoms are arranged in this molecule. So molecular formula just shows us that how many atoms are present and what types of atoms are present, but how they are connected together, how they are bonded together, this is not shown by the molecular formula. Arrangement is up to some extent is shown by the condensed structure formula, and up to the greater extent by the structure formula. Stop. Students, now we are proceeding towards the next topic in your book. After the condensed structure formula, we are discussing now saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons. So saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbon. This is my topic. Let me explain what is a hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbon. Those compounds which contain carbon and hydrogen atoms only and their molecules are called hydrocarbons. So those compounds which contain hydrogen and carbon only. For example, CH4. This is called methane. It has only carbon and hydrogen, no other atom. It is said to be a hydrocarbon. Similarly, ethene, C2H4. This is also hydrocarbon. Benzene, C6H6. This is also a hydrocarbon. So these are the hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons have carbon and hydrogen, nothing else. So now let me discuss the types of hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are divided into two types. They are divided into two types. One is called saturated hydrocarbons. I shall write HCS for hydrocarbon. Saturated hydrocarbons. They are also called alkanes. Alkanes are called saturated hydrocarbons. So in other words, alkanes are the excellent example of the saturated hydrocarbons. The next is unsaturated hydrocarbons. HCS for hydrocarbons. So let me discuss first the saturated hydrocarbons. Those hydrocarbons in which there is only carbon single bond between any two carbon atoms with no double or triple bond. Such organic compounds are called saturated hydrocarbon. They are also called alkanes. So alkanes have just carbon single bonds only. You will never have any double bond or triple bond in alkanes. That will never be an alkane, it will be something else. I am going towards that. So saturated hydrocarbon, for example, the first alkane is methane, that is CH4. The next is the C2H6 ethane. The third is the C3H8 propane, methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane, hexane, heptane, octane, nonane, decane. All these are then discussed number by number. So today we have discussed the saturated hydrocarbons. Now I am proceeding towards the unsaturated hydrocarbon. Actually, remember students that why they are called saturated hydrocarbons, because these compounds are saturated with the maximum number of hydrogen atoms. I shall compare these with the unsaturated hydrocarbon, then you will understand the point. So now let me proceed towards the unsaturated hydrocarbons. Those hydrocarbons which contain at least one or more carbon-carbon double bond or carbon-carbon triple bond in their molecules are called unsaturated hydrocarbons. So unsaturated hydrocarbons will have carbon-carbon double bond or carbon-carbon triple bond in their molecules. These hydrocarbons may have both of these two, or they will have one double bond, two double bond, three double bond. Any number of double bond can be there. Similarly, any number of triple bond can be there, or both can be there, but they must have at least one double or triple bond. They can be more than one double or triple bond. So these are called unsaturated hydrocarbons. Let me give an example of two carbon unsaturated hydrocarbon, that is ethene, C2H6. Its structure is somewhat like this. Sorry, C2H4, not H6. So this is the structure formula of ethene. Look at this. With two carbon, how many hydrogens are there? 4. Now look at here. With alkanes, with two carbon, there were 6 hydrogens. So that's why they were known as saturated, because they are saturated with hydrogen atoms. And they have comparatively less amount of hydrogen. So they are called unsaturated. So now the unsaturated carbon may have double or triple bond. So on the basis of presence of double and triple bond, these unsaturated hydrocarbons are divided into two types. One is called alkenes, while the another type of compounds are called alkynes. Remember that alkenes have at least one carbon-carbon double bond. Carbon-carbon double bond will be present, at least a single carbon-carbon double bond. It may be more than one, but this is the functional group of alkenes. It must be present for an alkene compound, for a compound to be alkene. Its general formula is CnH2n. Saturated hydrocarbons have general formula CnH2n plus 2. Another type of unsaturated hydrocarbon is alkynes. Alkynes have at least one carbon-carbon triple bond in their molecules. Example is for the example of alkenes is ethene, which I have discussed earlier. Example of alkynes is ethyne. Now look at this one. This carbon-carbon triple bond, two hydrogens are connected at the both sides of the triply bonded carbon atoms. So these are called alkynes. Here the suffix in alkynes YNE is used here, the suffix ENE is used here, the suffix ANE is used. The ANE, these suffixes represents the class of compounds. So let me summarize this discussion that the hydrocarbons are of two types, saturated and unsaturated. Saturated have carbon-carbon single bonds only, while the unsaturated may have carbon-carbon double bond or triple bond. Those which have the double bond, they are called alkenes, and those which have triple bond, they can be called as alkynes. The first member of alkene is ethene, then propene, butene, pentene, hexene, and so on. The first member of alkynes is the ethyne, which is the alkyne. The first alkyne is ethyne. This is the structure of ethyne. It can be propyne, butane, pentane, hexane. You must be able to draw their structures. Students, now we are proceeding towards our next topic, that is naming alkanes. How to name alkanes? Remember that there is a system for naming alkanes. First of all, you must know what are alkanes. Alkanes are the saturated hydrocarbons. We have discussed it already in our previous lecture, that alkanes are the saturated hydrocarbons. They just have carbon-carbon single bonds, in their molecules between any two carbon atoms. So alkanes have a general formula CnH2n plus 2. CnH2n plus 2. Where is the N represents the number of carbon atoms. N represents number of carbon atom. If I put N is equal to 1, this formula will put here N is equal to 1. This will become C1H into 2 into 1, 2 plus 2, 4. C1H4. We don't write C1, so it becomes what? CH4. This is called methane. But according to IUPAC, this abbreviation stands for International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. This is a system of naming alkanes, not only alkanes, but the chemical compounds in general. So, as we are discussing the alkanes, so we will confine our focus over just alkanes. So when I put N is equal to 1, I got CH4. This is called methane. So each alkane here, the name of each alkane is composed of two parts. For example, if I write methane, how I shall write? METH, meth, and N. This is called prefix part. This is called suffix. Prefix part is called stem, and this is called suffix. You can also write it prefix. So methane, meth, it shows the number of carbon atoms. Remember that whenever we have meth, this means one carbon. Whenever we have, similarly, if I put N is equal to 2, put 2 instead of N here, we will get C2H2 into 2, 4 plus 2, 6. We will get this one. This is called ethane. Again, eth and N. This is the prefix part and this is suffix. The prefix part shows the number of carbon atoms, while the suffix part shows us the class of compound. Here N represents that this compound belongs to the family of alkanes. So this represents the class, and the prefix part are also called stem. It represents the number of carbon atom. Similarly, if I put N is equal to 3, we will get, in this formula, put N is equal to 3. We will get C3H8. We will write it prop here again. It will become propane. So again, this is the prefix part. This is the suffix part. Prop means 3. It has 3 carbon atoms, or N is equal to 3. And N represents, this is an alkane. So this represents the class. Similarly, butane, pentane, hexane, heptane for 7 carbon, octane for 8 carbon, nonane for 9 carbon, decane for 10 carbon atom. This is already given in your book. You can check it. For 11 carbon, undecane, for 12 carbon, 2 decane, tridecane, and so on. They are in thousands. But we will only confine our study to the first 10 alkanes. So in this way they are named. So let me summarize the discussion that alkanes are named according to IUPAC system, International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. According to this system, each alkane is composed of 2 parts. The name of each alkane is composed of 2 parts, the prefix part and suffix part. Prefix part is also called stem. It represents the number of carbon atom, while the suffix part, the alkane N is common. You can see this. This means all these belongs to what? Alkanes. So this was something about the alkane. For example, if You can have a question in your exam that draw the structure of pentane, draw the structure of hexane, heptane. So let's say if there is a question that draw the structure of pentane. So first of all, check pent. Pent is the suffix for pentane. Pent mean 5 carbon atoms. Ane mean it is an alkane. So this represents the class. So you can easily draw their structures. Now students, we are starting another topic, sources of organic compounds. So a quite easy topic. Sources means how and from where, not how, but from where the organic compounds can be obtained. What are the sources of organic compound? Means from where you can get organic compounds. So many sources are there, but we will discuss only few of them. Number one is coal. Coal is actually the dark brown or blackish hard mass present under the earth's surface. It is extracted, and when coal is burned, we just obtain carbon dioxide and water. So it burns. But there is a process which is called destructive distillation, during which coal is heated from 500 degrees C to 1000 degrees C in absence of air. Air means oxygen. So when you heat the coal up to this high temperature in absence of air, the various compounds, actually remember that coal is not a single compound, it is a complex mixture of many compounds. The scientists believe that more than 200 different compounds are obtained from coal. So when we heat it up to this temperature in absence of air, the various components, it decomposes and gives us various fractions. One of the fraction is very important, which is called coal tar. The further fractional distillation of coal tar gives us many compounds which are used, many aromatic compounds, some open chain and some unsaturated compounds which are used in manufacture of pesticides, paints, fertilizers, explosives, dyes, and many other plastics and many other petrochemicals. These are called petrochemicals. Then many other areas of industrial importance. So coal is the first source of organic compound, and we get from coal more than 200 different compounds can be obtained from coal by the process of destructive distillation. This is also called carbonization of coal. So carbonization of coal or destructive distillation of coal is a good source of organic compound. The second one is petroleum. Petroleum is the second source of organic compound. Remember that petra means rock, oleum means oil. Petroleum is actually a dark brown viscous liquid which is present beneath the earth and up to the distance of hundreds of feet. So when this petroleum is extracted, it is a dark black viscous liquid. This is of no use, but it has many compounds, especially the alkanes. Petroleum is saturated with alkanes. From petroleum, then this petroleum is allowed to subject a process which is called fractional distillation. So we carry out the fractional distillation of petroleum. Fractional distillation is a process in which various components of petroleum are separated from each other on the basis of difference in their boiling points. So we get For example, petrol, diesel, kerosene, mobile oil, grease, and candle wax, asphalt which is used for the construction of roads, petroleum wax, and many other compounds are obtained from petroleum. So this is also a rich source of organic compounds, and normally the alkanes. The petroleum also has some gaseous part which mainly contain methane, ethane, some propane and butane. So these are the gases which are used as CNG or LPG. So these compounds are obtained from petroleum. The third source of organic compound is the natural gas. Natural gas is always associated with the petroleum sources. So natural gas mainly contains about 85% methane. Similarly, 8 to 10% ethane. Some other compounds like propane, butane, ethene, ethyne, they are also present, but they are in very small quantities. So mainly the natural gas is composed of methane and ethane, and both these are the sources. So the natural gas is a good source of methane, ethane, propane, butane, ethene, and ethyne. So these compounds are easily obtained from natural gas. Natural gas is used as a light source in homes. It is also used as a fuel and domestically, also for industrial purpose. The fourth source of organic compound is, the fourth one is the living organisms. Living organisms. Living organisms, actually this represents the bodies of the living organisms. They have many compounds. For example, let me give only the names of the classes of those compounds which are obtained from living organisms. For example, carbohydrates, for example, proteins, for example, fats or lipids. Similarly, the vitamins, similarly the hormones, similarly the enzymes, all of them, DNA, RNA, all these are obtained from living organisms. So living organisms are you can say they are also one of the richest sources of organic compounds. Similarly, synthesis in lab. Synthesis means to prepare something. Organic compound synthesis in lab. There are many compounds in organic chemistry which are of no use. Those compounds are broken down into a useful compounds. For example, some fractions which are obtained from petroleum, they are of no use. But there is a process during which those compounds are broken down and we get petrol from it, we get diesel from it, we get the natural gas from it. So in this way, the many compounds are synthesized. You can convert one compound into other. For example, we can also react two compounds together to get another compound which are called derivatives. So synthesis in labs, remember that thousands of compounds, hundreds of thousands of compounds are prepared so far in labs by artificial means. So this was something about the sources of organic compound. You can also check this topic in great detail in second year videos where the same topic is there, and I have discussed that topic in detail. I have discussed the composition of coal tar, coal gas, and many others which are obtained from coal, and you can also watch that video. I thank you all.